Look at the sources of African history, East African history. Where is the history that we are looking at? Where is it gathered? How was it converted to the history that we are seeing today? So we have different sources looking at the linguistic. It is a scientific study of languages, whereby Africans are having differences in terms of language. African groups are believed that they have a number of languages that each society speaks. For example, if you come to Buganda here, people in Buganda speak Luganda. If you go to Mbare, people of Mbare, the Bagishu, they speak their language. If you go to Kalamoja, the Kalamajongs, they speak their language. So each group has got its own language. So they say, this is the study of language, carefully studies that have been made to relate languages. Societies, all the studies have been concentrated on similar words, and there is evidence that the people have given that shows that each societies and tribes speak certain languages, or they have some languages that they speak, but they have some common words that they use. Linguistics have been very important in describing related societies and in establishing societies' common origins. So each society has got its own language, and however much we have different languages that we speak, but we have some common words we have. That if someone communicates, if a Munyagore speaks, a Muganda can listen, can hear something from that person. So linguistics have tried to create for us history depending on basing on the language that societies speak. Another, there is the oral sources. Oral sources are also known as traditional. This is the traditional knowledge that is passed from one generation to another. At times, in most cases, it is the role of the elders to pass this information to the new generation or to the youth. The elders, they're the ones to transfer this information to the youth, because for them they believe that they existed before, so they are taken to be having enough information that the generation, which is the youth, doesn't have. So it was so common in Buganda, Bunyolo, and Kole, whereby elders were the ones to tell the young generation about what happened in the past. So the oral is more of mouth. You speak something. It is the information which is taught to us by our elders. At times, it was passed through the elders, then to the youth, but in form of myths. They used to tell us stories or legends, but these legends and myths were trying to carry the history, the thing that happened before. So the oral sources is also one of the source of history that is the best when they are gathering information. We have archaeology. Archaeology, this is the scientific study of the remains or the fossils, the remains of the animals, vegetation, and the humans. For example, we used to hear stories about the dragons and etc. But the archaeologists, for them, they go deep and they look at the remains of those animals. They take them into some scientific measures or process, and they get evidence. So it is the scientific study of the remains. So the history at times which we look at, it is also based on the remains of the animals, people, and the vegetation. For example, Aleman is we look at Aleman basing on the remains of Aleman. Then we have the anthropologists. The anthropologists, the word anthropos means in the Greek the study of humans. Unlike archaeologists, the anthropologists are not interested in the past. Though they try to study the past, but for them, their major emphasis is more of understanding the culture of the people. They investigate and explain the structure of societies, how societies are organized, politically, socially, and among others. We have written history. Written history is more of the records that were written. For example, if you go in China, we have the Ming Dynasty. Though that information was left out, it was written and it kept in the archive. So in East Africa, sorry, in East Central Africa, it is of recent. But in Japan, other countries, Japan, China, it was